What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Part-Time Watchers podcast with Keith and Lorcan, talking everything in the world of pop culture, movie news, TV shows, video games, comic books, even geeky books. Not even comic books, just novels. You name it, and we'll talk about it. Sometimes part-time, sometimes we'll waffle, sometimes we won't even talk about it at all. Sure, hey, it's a bit of fun. Lorcan, how are you doing today?
I'm okay. The weather has absolutely deteriorated now in the last little while. We've been blessed basically all the way through quarantine with having actual decent weather, and now it just looks like there's a storm coming constantly, and it's the worst. So as soon as everything gets lifted and the opportunity is there to do something and go somewhere, it's just the worst. You know.
Yeah. Well, we actually
bring me back to day one quarantine.
We had 2 days of really good weather during the week where it was 25 or 26, and then we just had thunderstorms for 24 hours afterwards. So
it's lovely.
It's as if anytime we get good weather, it's just oh wait, no wait, you're Ireland, we need to piss on you again.
Yeah, so much for the lucky Irish. It's actually disgraceful. I hate it. I hate it so much. But actually, I will say because of that, I've got to play The Last of Us 2. We'll probably get into that a little bit later, but I eventually got to play it, and justifiably playing it constantly all day yesterday because it was raining outside. So
yeah, all is good when you've got a good excuse to stay inside and play video games the whole time. Not that we ever need an excuse, but it's nice when there is one on top of it. So yes, for today's show, we have, again, this week was very lax on movie news because there was one big movie thing and it was more DC news that kind of took over everything. So we'll get into that, and we've got another goddamn Batman in the mix, and it's just coming back as Batman, not even a new one. But anyway, we'll get to that. But then most of the rest of the news was very video game heavy. So we have, we've seen a lot of gameplay from Cyberpunk. We've seen some gameplay from Marvel's Avengers game. And we have more rumors on the DC games that are coming out. And Crash Bandicoot's getting another game. Loads of stuff we will be getting into. But to start off, we got some trailers. We got one trailer because we're not going to talk about the other one because you don't know anything about it. But the first trailer is the new Kingsman, The Kingsman. This is Matthew Vaughn is back to direct another Kingsman movie. So obviously we had the two first Kingsman, Kingsman and then Kingsman The Golden Circle. One which was amazing, which is Kingsman The Golden Circle, which was a big pile of steam.
It was like Kingsman The Golden Shower. It was awful, absolutely atrocious. Talking about being pissed on, that movie got pissed on. Fucking hell. Like the thing about this and the thing about Kingsman is I saw this and I was like, yeah, this looks good. I forgot how much I like this series, but at the same time I'm like, the last one was so poor and so bad. And I remember looking at that trailer and thinking that it was going to be great. So I just wonder, is this going to be good? And I think that I actually think it's good that the whole setting has changed up as well. And we are going back to World War One. It's World War One, isn't it? It's not World War Two.
It's World War One, yeah.
Yeah. So looking back at that, I'm like, well, that's interesting. And I love the style and everything of it. But this could go this is so hit or miss. This could absolutely be atrocious, or it could be just as good as the first one. So yeah, I can't tell from this trailer if it's going to be better or not.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting looking at this because obviously when the first Kingsman came out, it was oh, this is cool because this is a James Bond on steroids. This is a comic book version of a James Bond movie where you take some street guy and then you turn him into a James Bond, but the action's way over the top. People's heads explode like a firework. It's crazy, but it was good. Whereas in the second one, when spoilers, but whoever hasn't here to seen this doesn't care anyway. But when you bring back a lead character that was shot in the face, you just break your entire universe because now there are no stakes. Because if you get shot in the face, we can bring you back. It doesn't matter. So the whole universe is broken. Then in that case, it doesn't matter what anyone does.
Literally nothing matters. And then it was just I just thought the second one was so poor and the villain was so poor and everything about it was so poor and just kind of overdone. It just felt like it tried to, I don't know, take back what the first one done or try to make it as special as the first one. Kind of done a similar sort of plot, I suppose. But I do like the idea that I do think this is what this franchise needed after only 2 films, was to go back and kind of look at it from a different perspective, because it'd be good to see what these, because as you mentioned before, they're quite James Bondy in the way their gadgets come out as well. So I wonder what the high-tech gadget will be for this. Do you know what I mean? So is it going to be a steampunk type of thing, or is it going to be, I actually don't know what it could be as well. But it's so interesting as well. And I know there's hints towards the factions between the Kingsmen and kind of I can't remember what the evil kind of version of the Kingsman is as well, but like there's a kind of like a darker one. I don't know much about the lore, but they kind of showcase what started the First World War, which was the assassination of Franz Ferdinand, and it kind of like shows that at the start of it as well, because that whole story is really interesting in general, like the real life one about like him almost being assassinated, and then what do you call it? Basically, all the assassins missed where he was, and one of them was sitting in a coffee shop feeling bad for himself. And Franz Ferdinand pulls up, and he just runs out and shoots him, and that's basically how World War One started, and by proxy World War Two. So, like, I hope to play off the idea of that, and like that could be really fun and interesting. So, yeah, like it could be totally fun. I nearly wish that they would have went all the way back and kind of done like a Knights of the Round Table even before this, and kind of done like proper like Sword and Shield type of film, which is going to be interesting. Movie?
Jesus, that'd be very strange. But yeah, I think you're right in the sense that like it needed to go back because it can't go forward anymore, because no matter what it does going forward, it's like, oh, you can bring him back, so it doesn't matter. Yeah. And he just got shot in the face. Oh, it doesn't matter. We got a shoot in the face, fix yourself machine. So completely pointless. But yeah, I love war movies, so I love when they kind of like, I do like different takes on it, where it's like, this is a different take on what could have happened situation. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this. And then the other trailer that we were going to talk about was that there was a trailer for the Twilight Zone Season 2. It wasn't even a trailer. I think they just released a clip from it. But obviously the Twilight Zone was rebooted last year or the year before by Jordan Peele, and he's done his class job. I did watch like 3 or 4. I think I watched like 4 of the episodes. Each episode is like a standalone story, so you can watch them and you don't have to keep watching to follow what's going along, right? You can just watch episode by episode. But I haven't got back into watching the remainder of that season, but I do want to. It's kind of more like they're like a different take on Black Mirror, essentially.
They sound goofier though as well. Like again, I'm going off what you told me maybe a year and a half ago from the first one. But isn't there one of them where the guy wants to be a stand-up comedian, but like the people laugh themselves to death or something like that? Like there's some weird trade-off or something. So
yeah, I can't remember what the story was, but it was essentially that anyone he talked about, it was like if he talked about his life or someone in his life, that was the only thing that made people laugh. But when he talked about it, the person from his life then either vanished or forgot he ever existed. And that was the one of Camille Nanjiani. So it was a really cool, it kind of like an adult version of like Goosebumps back in the day as well.
That's exactly what it is. It's goofy sort of like horror rather than like your Black Mirror kind of, wow, this is so close to life.
Yeah. So yeah, if you like Black Mirror but you can't watch it because it's so goddamn bleak, which I'm definitely one of those people because I don't enjoy watching it at all. The Twilight Zone is a good show for you because it's much easier to watch, and it's the same kind of like weird random premises like that. But yeah, they've released a trailer for season 2. It's just a clip of an episode. I think the guy that's in it is the guy that plays the young William in Westworld.
Oh, I like him. The guy who plays the gross family member from Always Sunny.
Yeah.
The milk drinkers. They're the gross.
They're terrible. But yeah, it's him that's in the clip. So check it out if you're interested in that show. I definitely recommend watching it. I need to myself get back to it. But yeah, Jordan Peele, everything he touches seems to be turning to gold. So
is that true though? Like I kind of look back and it's like Jordan Peele done Get Out and it was really good. But like, was Us received really well? And then as far as I remember, the Twilight Zone wasn't received very well either. So like, is he batting 1 for 3 or am I just being harsh?
Whether or not it was received, like people had mixed opinions on Us, but it is like one of the highest grossing R-rated movies of all time. So
yeah, fair play.
It definitely was successful. Cool. Then moving on to some movie news. Not a whole pile in the world of movies outside of the stuff we're going to get to because we have a couple of rumors coming up. But in terms of official movie news, the only news is that we're going to have to wait even longer for the good.
Everything is getting pushed.
Still getting pushed. We were all hoping that mid-July was going to be the time cinemas open back up and they were going to get us back in. We were going to see Tenet. It was going to be Christopher Nolan's big swing. And now we just got to wait another 2 months because Tenet has been pushed until August 12th.
They're going to push everything so far. They're going to push it all the way to January to the idea that Bloodshot's going to win an Oscar. Like, it's going to be one of the only films that was there. So it's going to be in the list or the running order as well. And it's going to win a fucking Oscar. That's what's going to happen here. Everything is going to get pushed.
Yeah, but if we get to a stage where the only good movie, where there's only been like 10 movies released and one of them is Bloodshot, and again, like, imagine, I wonder what will happen. Like, it's surely by the time all these movies come out, like that, there will actually be enough good movies to be nominated for Oscar. But could you imagine, worst case scenario, everything gets pushed and Bloodshot gets a nomination? What would it be? What would it be like your Oscar nominations of what came out so far? You'd have like Bloodshot, probably that. What was that? That animated one didn't come out in theaters. The Smurfs one.
Yeah,
that's what everyone lost their shit about.
Yeah, it didn't come out in theaters either. I was about to say like the Five Bloods or one of the ones from Netflix, but they haven't released in theater either.
That didn't come out in theaters.
Oh my god!
The Gentleman came out for like 30 seconds before it was cancelled.
I'm trying to think of what else, because like,
I can't even remember
all
what
the films I
January.
saw like just pre-March were probably ones that were released before January, like Jojo Rabbit and stuff like that. Like I saw that late, so oh my god, yeah, it probably will be. Yeah. That's depressing.
But yeah, all going well. In August 12th, Tenet is going to be out. That's going to be one of the first major ones that'll be back in theaters. August 21st is Mulan, and then Wonder Woman, which is meant to be August, was pushed again to October, so we have to wait even longer for that. But Black Widow's out sometime in between there. I can't remember where.
I don't know. I think everyone is waiting for Tenet to do something, and then they'll kind of all place their strategies on that. So Tenet is the one that's making all the moves, and as soon as that gets pushed, everything else gets pushed.
Yeah, everyone else is like, shit, do it, push.
But yeah, it's just crazy. And like the idea, like the reason it's getting pushed is because their primary market in the US is still overrun with coronavirus at the moment as well. So I think things will keep on, like, this is the date, and they said they weren't going to push it from when it was originally supposed to come out, which was this week in July. They weren't going to push it from August, and now it's getting pushed and pushed again. So like I can see this just continuously getting pushed until the two major centers, being LA and New York, kind of recover to a degree that allows people to go back to a cinema. Like I don't think they're taking Europe into consideration or anything from here. But so I think it'll probably get pushed again, but we'll see.
We'll see when you get there.
It's a nice bleak.
I'd say Christopher Nolan is losing his shit behind the scenes.
He can't even work
in movie in cinemas. Cool. Then the next bit of news we have a little bit of Star Wars news. So if you're not interested in Star Wars, check out the timestamps below and just skip on ahead.
I thought that whole thing was just check out now. Just leave. Just the podcast.
Leave. You don't like Star Wars, you're in the wrong fucking place. Get out of here. So anyway, we like Star Wars, so we're going to talk about it. But basically what this is that obviously Star Wars Celebration was cancelled, but at Star Wars Celebration, that's when they were going to start talking about this new High Republic time era that they're shifting all their novels and all their comics and stuff to. So they've already completely milked the cow dry on the current timeline and where Star Wars is. So they're going back in time for like they're calling it the High Republic era. But the first novel that's meant to be coming out, it's called Light of the Jedi. So it's due out. I think it's in January 2021 now. It's been pushed to. But essentially what it's doing is telling the story. This story is going to be like the starting block that will essentially affect all the novels and comics and everything that comes out of it. And I'm assuming eventually some form of movie will come from this as well. But basically during the High Republic, the Jedi are at the peak of their power and it's peace in the galaxy. It's great times. They're walking around. They're having a great time. But what happens is there's a large cargo ship which is traveling through hyperspace, but it is destroyed in hyperspace, like during its hyperspace voyage. And essentially what that means is that it creates chaos in the galaxy because this entire ship exploded in hyperspace, so parts of it can just come out of anywhere at any time and just cause destruction in like planets and worlds and all that kind of stuff around.
That is a fantastic idea. Like,
it's a cool plot.
It's such a cool plot. Like, I wonder if the idea is it going to fall mini pockets of stories or something along those lines, and then it to be affected by this debris coming out of nowhere. Like, I just think that's a really good visual story. And I'm surprised something like this hasn't happened before, but I suppose it's just the scale of or the size of the cargo ship that like blew up that has like made it this thing, I suppose. But,
and I guess it's cool the way they're kind of talking about it because they're like this, like you said, this can create like pocket stories because essentially what it's going to mean is that like you could start any novel with you were in a place and it was destroyed because this piece of debris came out of hyperspace and just like ruined your planet or whatever it is. So it's cool that that's kind of where they're going with it. And like, I like the fact that it's for the first time now since they've rebooted the Star Wars universe, it feels like, hey, we're all going to sit down, we're going to come up with a plan for what we can do going forward, and here's what starts it off, and now go and do your thing within that. rather than just being like, hey, you do this thing, and then you do that thing, and then sure, you know what, you do that thing over there, but we're going to take it off you in a while anyway, so it doesn't really matter what you do. Like, that's what Star Wars has been for the last like 4 or 5 years. Whereas at least now, unfortunately, exactly. Whereas at least now, I know it's starting in the novels and it's starting in the books, which not a lot of people are reading, apart from like deep Star Wars fans. But this looks like they're starting something, and it's like, if it's successful in the novels, if it's successful in the books, then it'll get comic books, then it might get video games, then it might get movies and TV shows eventually. So it's nice to see them. This is like hopefully the starting block of something that's really kind of cool to come. And obviously between now and then, like, there's a lot of stuff that happened in the timeline as well. So it's just kind of a starting thing, but it's a cool starting plot. It's a cool like point to kind of to go off that kind of lead into a lot of other stories. So I'm looking forward. I'll definitely be getting that novel, because I haven't read one of the Star Wars books in about 2 years now, because they've all been not that great in the last couple of years.
Yeah, basically. Same.
It's basically been what they were talking about doing in the movies, where it's like, here's a backstory in this character, here's a backstory in that character, and it's like, I don't care.
Saying that though, like, I actually do think this is a really good starting point, because if they start in this area of like the High Republic, maybe they're setting the groundwork for, again, the next trilogy that's coming up. And I do like the idea of like the Jedi being the peak of their power, and maybe the Sith before the rule of 2 as well. So you're going to have loads of Sith as well. So like the opportunity there is to have like bigger scale stories, rather than, oh, this person's the chosen one, and this is the chosen one, and this is the chosen object, and the chosen planet. It's kind of more of like a war story with these, you know, hyper trained soldiers in like the Sith and the Jedi. Like, it could be really interesting to kind of play off that.
In saying that, now you're going to be disappointed, but they haven't mentioned anything about Sith, and they have mentioned who, like, I think it's like we'll say the bad guys essentially in this
Palpatine again.
No, it's Palpatine. He's still around. No, it basically looks like space pirate type gangs, which is kind of boring. But they haven't. I think they've said that like this is a time where there isn't really any Sith. This is before. Because remember in the originals they said there hasn't been
this is before there's a breakup. Well, this could be the foundation of the Sith. So like the idea that
no, it's not. Like, it's as in, this is after the Sith had been defeated and before they came back. So this is after the Rule of 2 was created and everything. So there's just no Sith. So it's in that kind of blank period between.
Keith, you're bringing in my power. You're bringing.
I know. I'm reading my own buzz even saying it, because I want to see a big war with Jedi and Sith as well. But yeah, you'd never know. Once they get into it, maybe something interesting will come out of it. They can't go into a time period with no Sith or no...
That's true. Like, they'll probably hint at like something bigger coming or something like that. Like the return of the darkness or some shit. Because like, if they're fighting just space pirates, like Han Solo people, and it's just a Jedi just ripping through them, that's not going to be fun at all.
In saying that, though, I would like to see a Jedi going through and just absolutely tearing the shit out of a bunch of space pirates.
You just have like space pirates throwing out like one-liners and quips, basically like a Han Solo, and a Jedi comes in and just lops off his head. That's what it'd be, just really brutal. Because you cannot compare. And like they're just there with guns trying to shoot them, and the Jedi's just deflecting them, force chokes them, and kills them.
Oh, you have a pretty bleak interpretation of what a Jedi would do. Some space pirate.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, so that's a bit of Star Wars news. We'll see. We're not going to get much more Star Wars news for a while now until things start kicking back into gear. But what we are getting is a hell of a lot of rumors in this last couple of weeks, and in particular with DC. It's back to that time with DC where they're just throwing shit out there and seeing what sticks, seeing what people are excited about.
There's just a TP employee at the water cooler, and he's just leaking information to every press. Right. But I bet you it's like an intern who's been brought in because of COVID, and he's just making shit up. So like people are checking him up, and he's on LinkedIn. It's like, yeah, he definitely works for DC, and he's just leaking shit. But it's like all rumors, and it's all fake.
Yeah. But what's happening then is people are like, oh, I like the sound of that. So DC are like, shit, get it going. Okay, we're going to make that movie.
Could you imagine if it's like one kid just taking a piss and the press picks up on it, so the higher ups are like, we have to do this now. So it's one kid just like pulling the strings behind DC.
He's coming up with the best ideas he wants to see. And he's telling everyone about them. And yeah. Oh, that'd be class. Anyway, we're going to go through the rumors. And what I want you to do, Lorcan, is tell me whether you think it's class or you think it's trash. Okay, is it class or is it trash? The first one we have is a rumor about the Zack Snyder Justice League, because there's a rumor about this every single week. But apparently in do you know the flashback sequence that we've seen in Justice League?
Yeah.
So apparently in Zack Snyder's one, they're going to have a bit more detail on it, and it's going to show us a bit more of that battle with Apocalypse being there and all that kind of stuff. But it's also apparently what Zack Snyder wanted was he wanted Hal Jordan, Green Lantern, to be in that sequence. And he wanted him to die in that sequence, and then the ring would leave him and it would go off to someone else, and then he would pick whoever the next person. He, similar to how he wants it with Robin, he's like, I want to kill the person who's meant to be it at the first time, and I want to skip 20 years and I want to give it to someone else that maybe he creates himself.
The question there though is like, how though, because like that was like pre-human civilization.
Yeah, that was years ago.
Or like maybe hundreds of years, thousands of years. Was it before?
Yeah, like I got, yeah, that was the time Zeus was still rolling.
Yeah, like Zeus was there and everything. And
that was generations ago. But yeah, that's the rumor that's going around now, and there is a rumor currently that he wants to get Ryan Reynolds to come in to be that Green Lantern. Essentially, I don't know how in the name of God that would work timeline wise, or even if they want to. Apparently, he wants to get basically him to come in to be Green Lantern in it somehow in Justice League. So whether it's in that sequence or whether it's to be a current day Green Lantern, but like if Ryan Reynolds shows up as Green Lantern in this Justice League movie, like he is not Ryan Reynolds, but that movie is unanimously hated by everyone.
Yeah, like this is a trash rumor for like for loads of different reasons. Firstly, because the timelines don't match, and it's not as if they don't match up by a couple of days or weeks or anything like that, but like by centuries this is all. You know what I mean? And it can't be just Zack Snyder going, turn your brain off, because like no, his whole character is based on like I don't want to get into that, but then at the same time, even if he does bring it back in a different capacity where it's not like maybe the ring goes to him and all that stuff happens around this time or something like that, like just having the insertion of Hal Jordan Green Lantern in there, to have like two quip monsters in there like him and Ezra Miller for Flash would actually kill me. Because like the writing for both of them would probably be poor, and like Ryan Reynolds is so Deadpool now that it's going to be hard to like take his Green Lantern seriously at all. So like I actually like, it'd be great if it was brought back in and it was kind of, see, the thing is, it'd be cool if it was played for laughs and he dies and it's like, oh, that's that Green Lantern, that's hilarious. But I think for the tone that Zack Snyder is going for in this film, this could just be awful. I think this is even happening. Like, I can't see Ryan Reynolds ever going back to the Hal Jordan Green Lantern unless it's part of a joke for like an SNL skit. Like,
exactly. So yeah, I definitely think that's trash as well. But it was going around that he wants him back, but God knows in what capacity. I can only imagine he'd want it back to kill him, because that sounds exactly like what Zack Snyder would want to do. But yeah, anyway, probably trash, probably won't happen. Hopefully won't happen. So now we're back to talk about Flashpoint. Nice. We haven't talked about the Flash in 7 days maybe. And then we didn't talk about it for 7 days before that, because every bloody week there's a rumor on this thing. I wish they just come out.
Is it another new director? Is it another new cast member? Is it the movie's gone to shit again? Did Ezra Miller eventually get kicked off the project? Is it any of these great things?
No. Well, it is a great thing, potentially. But who knows? I'm actually curious to see what your take on this is. So obviously we've all seen it. Michael Keaton is reportedly in talks, but like all the major trades are talking about it, so it must have some validity to it. That he is in talks to come back as Batman in the Flash movie. And essentially what the report is saying, it hasn't completely validated what the story would be, but it's basically that obviously Flash would go back, save his mother from being killed, come back to the current timeline, but it hasn't said whether or not he would end up in the Burton universe, Batman, or if when he comes back to his current universe, that Batfleck just never existed and he was the actual like Michael Keaton is the actual Batman and he was just born earlier and now he's older. Like I just don't know I don't know what they're going for, but it does say that he's going to be in the movie. He's going to be playing Bruce Wayne. He's not going to be playing like an older Thomas Wayne or anything. He's going to be playing Bruce Wayne. There's going to be a scene with him in the Batsuit, and outside of that, I don't know.
Do you think he's playing Batfleck, but like older? So the idea is that instead of aging up Ben Affleck, they just decide to go get Keaton in, so he's the same Batman. So rather than being the Tim Burton Batman, he's Batfleck Batman, but older. And
that's what I mean. Like, is it going to be a case of that? Like, Flash comes back to his current timeline, and like Henry Cavill is still Superman, and Gal Gadot is still Wonder Woman, but the Batman now is Michael Keaton.
It's like none of those guys age really. Like Superman doesn't age, Wonder Woman doesn't really age, or they age differently.
Yeah, but like as in you're gonna have all the same surrounding characters are gonna be the same age.
Yeah.
But it's just like you come back and like, oh, now like this Batman, he was actually, because of the things you changed in the timeline, Bruce Wayne was actually born 20 years beforehand. Maybe. So now he's actually this age. You
That's
know?
weird. Yeah, but like the thing is, he could come back and overshoot it because all the rest of that cast actually don't age, bar the Flash. But then the Flash is the one manipulating
No,
the
but
time
like as
because
in, like
Cyborg
I'm saying,
wouldn't.
like they're not going to age up all. Like they're not going to age up Amy Adams and like
Oh
Clark
yeah,
Kent's parents and all. Like the
I
normal
forgot about
human
Perry
people.
White and all the
Yeah,
rest of them.
the normal human people that are in the time, like they
Fair
can't
enough.
age up like everyone. So it's not aging up the timeline. It's just like, oh, the difference in this timeline
Mhm.
is that Bruce Wayne was born 20 years beforehand. Like, are they going to do that, or is it going to be like he ends up like spinning into a different
Mhm.
multiverse and he ends up in the Burton universe and meeting that Bruce Wayne? Like, what I just
I
don't know
would
what.
like that. I would prefer that. I think
I'd
there's so
much
much
prefer
fun
that.
with that because there's a lot you can do. Like, because the idea is that even like the tone of the movie could switch to like a Burton-esque type thing, and you might get like a Burton version of like the Riddler might show up or something like that, or like
Yeah, yeah.
Penguin, which would be hilarious. Like get Danny DeVito back in there or something, unless he died, because I know Burton used to kill all of them. So I don't
Oh
know.
yeah, that Batman had a massive kill count.
Or get
He's
like
just
Michelle
killed
Pfeiffer
everyone.
in there as Catwoman as well. It'd be hilarious. Um,
Yeah,
but yeah, like it could be great. Like I actually love this rumor, and I love Michael Keaton, and I love anything Batman related. But the thing that just kind of shook me about all this, and I just sat down and thought about it, is that like Flashpoint's supposed to change a couple of things as well, like just when it comes back. But wouldn't it be awful if he comes back and everything else is the exact same, except Ben Affleck is no longer Batman? So
I
of
know
all
that
the
would
things that happen,
break my heart.
yeah, and like that's looking like what's going to happen because they're already in talks about bringing Superman back. They're not going to get rid of Aquaman or Wonder
Yeah,
Woman because they're
Wonder
cash
Woman.
cows at the minute. They're making this Flash movie, so the only one who doesn't seem to be proceeding is Ben Affleck Batman. So it seems like
Yeah.
Flashpoint, the whole purpose behind it is to recast him, but at the same time they have Pattinson in there, so they're going to try
Yeah.
and bring him in. Like it's such an odd, weird.
Yeah,
movie
there's just so
chain
much
event.
going on. And even the whole thing now, like there's I think it was just yesterday, there was like an online like appreciation day for Batfleck where everyone is just talking and posting how much they love him. But like there's so many people that want to see him back as Batman.
Yeah,
Like so many people. And I get that like he wasn't perceived well or whatever. But I do feel like if this is how they reboot that,
yeah,
like it's not even rebooting that Batman because they're not going to turn around and do another Batman with Michael Keaton unless they do something else, which we'll be getting to in a second. But like, yeah, I'd much prefer if it was multiverse where it's like, oh, you went to the Burton universe and then you came back to our timeline or something.
I prefer
Because
that.
even if they do that, like, what are they going to turn around and be when you get back to this universe? Because the rumor is that then he will become like Michael Keaton will become like the Nick Fury of the DCEU, where he's the older, more intelligent Batman that kind of like brings people together and is like showing up in all these other movies and being like the guy that ties it all together. And it's like, so you're going to tell me that in this universe you're going to have Henry Cavill as Superman and one of his best mates, Bruce Wayne, is going to be this guy.
Yeah,
He's like 30 years older than him, and like the whole like second. Like the thing with Batman and Wonder Woman, like now they're like, how are they gonna? What's their relationship gonna be now?
Yeah.
Like it just feels like it's gonna be super weird
And
if they go for
Alfred
that.
is
Yeah,
Alfred
where's
going to be
Alfred?
dead, or is Jeremy Irons going to be there, and the two of them are like the same age?
Yeah, or is it the other guy? What was the guy that played Alfred in the
in
Burton universe?
one?
Like, is he even alive anymore?
I don't think
know.
he's alive. I think he's dead.
Yeah. And then are they going to bring back the kid that played Robin? What's his name?
Oh yeah.
Oh, that'd be
he wasn't in the Burton one. He was in Schneider.
Oh,
one.
he wasn't. Yeah, he wasn't in those ones. Yeah,
something, yeah. Is it like O'Connor? Something O'Connor or something like that?
Yeah, something.
I can't remember his
name.
He was awful.
But yeah, like that's there's I guess there's good sides to have it. Like it'd be cool to see Michael Keaton back as an older Batman. Personally, I wouldn't like it in the main universe, but who knows what they're going to do. But then the other rumors coming out of it, obviously one that I have a question. I was like, well, what's the deal now? Because I was getting very hyped for the whole Jeffrey Dean Morgan as the older Thomas Wayne Batman, which would have been personally, I think, much cooler to see in a like Flashpoint story.
Yeah.
I think that would have been great. Now that seems like that rumor is kind of out the door now. But also there's a rumor going around that now with Michael Keaton coming back as Batman, that this is going to spin off into a Batman Beyond movie that they're going to be aiming for like a 2023 release, which I would love to see a Batman Beyond movie. And with Michael Keaton as the older Batman, that sounds class. That really does sound cool. Yeah. But then what I don't want is that like he's your mainstream Batman now, is that it's a Batman Beyond
like
story arc.
There's so much questions here
Superman and everything.
It feels like Flashpoint is basically going to be a Batman Flash movie, and like with which is really weird because last week it was basically, oh, it's going to be a cyborg Flash film or whatever. But it does seem like potentially the movie starts with him going back, saving his mother, and maybe Batman's gone, and then he has to try and go back again. And every time he does it, he's trying, it's a different Batman or a different, you know, and he's trying to get his Batman back. And then maybe at the end he just decides,
just gives up.
I don't know what happens, but then the idea is that maybe he goes into like a universe where Batman Beyond is already there, and then maybe that's where we follow that. Like maybe it's a different timeline. Like there's so much, like it's so messy. Everything about this seems so messy. Like nothing seems thought out. It seems like all they're doing here is opening another can of worms, and then
well, to be honest, it does kind of. The thing is, I'm sure they have like a massive overarching plan for it.
Yeah.
They're just, because it's all rumors and they're not actually talking about it. Like, this is the thing that annoys me. Like, you never hear this shit coming out of a Marvel movie. No. And I don't mean to compare the two of them because they're very different. But like, you never hear, like, you're not having 75 million rumors for 2 years leading up to finding out about like an Iron Man movie or finding out about a Captain America movie.
Yeah. Even
Avengers, Endgame and Infinity War, two of the biggest movies of all time. There were very, very little leaks or rumors around them. Yeah. Whereas like with every single DC movie, there's rumors and there's leaks and there's this and there's that for like 10 years before the things start coming out.
I feel like they need it. Like, I feel like that's a culture there where they're like, this is marketing for us, you know, like, you know, we keep on talking about this shit and we get people talking about it themselves, then that's like a job for us basically. So like, I do think it's like an internal culture thing. And then the fact that like Marvel's just a better run business than DC and like their film side is just way better run. And to be honest with you, I think people take it more seriously as well. Like, I think when someone gets into a Marvel movie, they know that like this is a huge deal and like they don't want to fuck this up. So like, and the culture in Disney as well is just like keep your mouth shut basically.
Yeah, they have snipers on every rooftop waiting for someone to say the wrong
thing. Disney are fucking scary. Disney will mess you up. So maybe that's what it is.
That's exactly the image they want portrayed when you think of the Disney logo. We will fuck you.
Oh, Disney will fuck you. Like that's a company that like no one wants to mess with really. Like I'd mess with like a more portrayed cynical company than I would with DC or than I would mess with like Disney. Like I feel like Disney, like there's no even a feel about this. Disney have dark secrets. So like I don't want to mess with Disney. I don't think anyone wants to mess with Disney.
No. Anyway, hopefully now I'd say at this stage now, this is where we're going to be talking DC fandom again in a little bit, but hopefully in August when this whole DC fandom event comes, this is when it's all going to be, we're going to find out about all of it. Surely they'll just be like, here's the Flash movie, here's the rough plot, and here's the cast, and just give us an idea of it and stop all the rumors and crap around it, because rumors I just get so sick of. Anyway, I would say that's potentially a class rumor, but also has a lot of possibility to be trash.
Yeah, 100%. Like it's class on the top, but then also if they don't execute it well, then it's trash, complete trash. Yeah. And it like has massive effects for the franchise moving forward.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Just the fact that Ezra Miller is going to be on it means it's trash, but you know we'll give it a chance outside of that. I think we've not that we've bashed on him enough, but
they still have time to boot him. Like, you know, as in like like I'm sure they have a couple of scenes already filmed. What they can do is green screen it. That the movie opens with him going back in time, and somehow that changes him into a better actor who just carries forward, and then that's it. So like they cast him immediately, and he's like, "Oh, that was weird. Now I look different. I don't know how to change this back. Guess that's okay."
Imagine being Ezra Miller and them coming up to you to be like, hey, okay, for your Flash movie, we just need you on set for one day. Yeah. And you don't need to know anything about the rest of the plot, but trust us, you're going to be in it for enough. And then he's sitting watching it in cinema, or he shoots the entire film, but then they reshoot it with another actor. Yeah. And he's sitting there on opening day, and after the first like 2 minutes, he's gone. Yeah. His character's just disappeared, and there's another Flash.
And he's just sitting there going, I'll choke you. I'll choke you all. I'll choke all of you. Where's the camera? I want to choke you all. God, but seriously, he did choke out a woman, and that's fucked.
Seriously, he's a bad dude. He is not a good guy.
No, he's not.
Anyway, let's move on to some gaming news, and this is mostly all positive news, so we won't be bashing anybody. But you know who will be crashing and bashing? Huh? You know, Crash Bandicoot. What a segue! What a segue!
Nice. It's about time, Keith.
It is. Look at it. See what you did there. It's Crash Bandicoot 4. It's About Time. It's getting released on PlayStation, Xbox in October 2nd. So this is I think they rebooted the Crash, the original Crash trilogy there a couple of years ago. But now obviously, and I always thought, this is weird, I always thought Crash Bandicoot was a PS4 or PlayStation exclusive.
Yeah, it is. It's not. Oh, I think they were on a Game Boy back in the day as well.
No, they were on the PlayStation back in the day.
No, but I mean,
like, Game Boy as well.
I mean, yeah. I think they released ones on the Game Boy. No, it's definitely, well, like traditionally it is a PlayStation exclusive because it's Sony, and then Sony's main boycott basically was Crash. But yeah, like I'm pretty sure all of them have just been PlayStation up until this point.
Yeah. Well, this one's coming out on Xbox. But yeah, what do you think of it? We got the trailer and we've seen like a lot more about it. You can play as a couple of different characters. Yeah. It looks great. Looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah, like, I mean, it looks like the reboot of the original trilogy, which is great. Like, again, it doesn't seem like they're going too mad with gimmicks in terms of like, you know, this is Crash and now he's in a 3D world and it's open world and you're surviving in the wilderness or anything along those lines. It's basically just like, listen, this is the platform levels. This is what we've done well all the way up until this point. We're going to keep on doing it. So it seems like they're brand new skinned levels, maybe some different mechanics there slightly in there as well. But like the overall style looks awesome. And I don't know if it's made by the same team who done the
reboot. It is, the remaster.
I kind of felt like it was probably that, because those guys rebuilt everything from the ground up, that, you know, at the end of the day, all they have to do is like put a new texture and some kind of like different platform levels in and had a brand new game. So I reckon, it's a good idea. And like, I love those original games. I went back, I played the trilogy as well after it got released like 2 years ago and loved it. So like, I'm all about this. So, you know, I'm a massive Crash fan. So, you know, this is great.
Yeah. You just got me thinking there, where you're like, like if they just put him in like an open world,
like Red Dead Redemption, but Crash Bandicoot.
Crash going in with his cowboy hat on, ordering a drink at the bar at the saloon.
Good girl.
Oh, that'd be so strange. Someone out there that's modding games, please put Crash Bandicoot into Red Dead Redemption 2. I would play a modded version of that for sure.
It'd be basically him going back to the camp after everything's been decimated, and you just hear Crash going, "Whoa!"
That was a great Crash.
Thank you very much.
That's very good.
But like, I'm sure that'll appear at some stage as well. But like, yeah, Crash doesn't work in like any other environment ever. He's just like a stupid character. But I love him. So.
He'd look pretty weird in Red Dead, where people are like real, super realistic and bleak and grim. But speaking of super realistic, bleak and grim, this is not bleak and grim, but I don't think I had this on the notes actually, because it just came out the other day and I sent on the notes to you previously. But we got loads of Cyberpunk 2077 gameplay and footage and stuff, and I'm sure you've watched it since then. We haven't spoke about it at all, but I'm
Do you know what? It was there, but I didn't want to watch it because I feel like there's been so much of this, like where they've done like the 1 hour gameplays, and you know, I tried not to watch a ton of it, and I feel like, you know, this CD Projekt Red, and I love them, and I love The Witcher, and I love everything, that I kind of want a lot more to be surprised about. And I feel like every time I watch it, there's a new mechanic or a new way of looking at things. So I'm just like, I watched a bit of them driving a car. I didn't really love the car mechanic, to be honest with you. And then
it does look good.
It looks amazing, but again, this is me being nitpicky. I think I was just like, I don't know about that. But it's probably different when you're playing it. So like, I turned a lot of it off, and I'm just like, do you know what? This game's coming out now in like 3 months time, so it's like, I'm just gonna leave it until 3 months and just try not to see anything more about it.
Yeah, cool. Well, then I don't have any spoiler or stories or any of that kind of information, but there are some basic things that I want to read this quote to you. So I was reading it's from Games Radar. They were talking about, because they got the game and they played like the first like hour or 2 hours or something about it. And the quote that they had at the beginning of the article was, "I never expected to see a gently jiggling penis so early on in Cyberpunk 2077." Before the credits even roll.
A gently jiggling penis.
Gently jiggling penis is how they describe it. I mean, spoiler alert, I don't know if you've seen this or not, but when you in character customization, apparently it is like the closest you can get to like diverse human representation, which is a good thing. But on top of that, you also get to choose your own genitals.
Sure, why not? Like, why not?
Yeah. Both male and female, all the body parts, there are multiple options. So yeah, strange openings, I guess.
I'm pretty sure there's dicks in The Witcher as well. I'm nearly 100% sure you get.
Oh, there definitely is, but like that's the thing that they're saying, where like they knew it was coming, they just weren't expecting it before
the
credits even.
Surely that is too much, Keith. I'm sorry, but that is too much.
Oh, this is
Oh
not a PG episode at all.
no, it is not. This is why I don't watch
Uh,
gameplay or trailers. Like, I don't want to be spoiled for this type of thing.
exactly. You want to experience that in the moment. You can't be spoiling that on
Oh.
someone else beforehand. Okay, I'm not going to go into any more vivid detail than that. But yeah, so they did release some. I think it was like an hour or so of gameplay footage. So you could see what the gameplay is like. Like I had said to this to you before that like I love the look of the world. But personally, like I've never got into like Far Cry and games that are first person open world adventure kind of games, because I just find the gameplay very static, and I much prefer if it's third person.
Same here. I'd prefer if the option was third person. Like, I love first person, and like I've played all the Fallouts. I've played Metro recently as well, which is very much that style. But like, I do feel that there's just something better about having a third person, and then purely because of what CD done with like the Witcher series, where that's third person, like it just it feels weird, and the driving mechanics usually as well in first person are awful. So like,
it does jump out though. You can do like third person driving and stuff, which is better.
Oh yeah, I just love the option to go into third person, even if it is Fallout-esque, where like it doesn't look great. But listen, it kind of is what it is, so I'm not going to give it away too much.
Yeah, but it does look good. And apparently, like when you begin, you've got the choice of like 3 different backstories for your character.
Oh, cool.
And each one of those kind of impacts the relationships you have with people when you go into it and stuff. So it looks great. The world, like the more I did watch people going through it, like this is one of the first person games that I really actually do want to check out, because it just the world just looks so ludicrously beautiful and amazing.
And usually the storytelling with the guys in CD Projekt Red is pretty good. So like, the thing about this game, actually, the thing I'm only after copping on is I actually don't know much about the story at all for this game. So like, and I kind of want to keep it that way. And I'm sure I read stuff, but I must have forgotten about it as well. So I'm pretty happy going into this blind. And fingers crossed it actually comes out this year and doesn't get pushed again.
I feel like they're releasing so much footage now that I feel like it's almost ready to go. Like they couldn't push it now.
They kind of have to as well, because PS5 will be launching around the same time. So like, it'd be bad if they kind of launched it 4 months into the PS5 cycle. So
but yeah, it looks class. And also they announced that there is a Netflix are going to do an anime series.
Awesome.
Based in the world of Cyberpunk 2077. I think it's called Cyberpunk Edge Runners. Or something. I can't remember the exact name. I don't have it here beside me. But it's basically about not the character that you play as, but it's about characters within the same kind of like line of work and profession as what you're doing in the game. So, I personally am actually almost more excited for the anime now, because I just love the look of the world.
Yeah, Cyberpunk animes tend to be amazing. Like, some of the best ones out there, like Cowboy Bebop and stuff like that are just incredible. So like, an updated version of something like that could be pretty awesome. Good move by Netflix. So, this is pretty good.
Yeah. Good timing as well, Other gameplay that we got, which this should be blowing us away, or definitely should be blowing you, I think, anyway. But Marvel had their or Marvel's Avengers, the game coming out, had their War Table online stream where they released loads more footage on the game. So like, I'm reading through the information that I wrote down on it from watching it, and everything I'm writing down sounds like exactly what I would want from a game. Yet, as I watch the footage and I watch the gameplay, it's just missing something. I don't know what it is. If it's like it for one, it definitely doesn't look as polished.
It looks cheap as hell, and I think that's a bad thing. Like, especially the Iron Man stuff. Like, just the way he's flying around, or the way the laser works.
Mechanic,
it doesn't look like fun. It looks weird. It looks like the flying mechanics are going to be awful. And then like the way Thor does it as well, it just seems the exact fly mechanic. Do you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't look like. It doesn't look fluid. And then like, the online looks awful. And to be honest with you, I don't think I'm ever going to do it. And it just like, even the way they sold it, like bar the way that you drop in and the way the map looks and everything like that looks kind of cool. But like, the idea that like they were trying to sell it off the bat, like, oh, you can update your person and you can get all this, and it's like, so one of the selling points is that there's going to be micro purchases, and like that kind of sucks, and I don't like that. The only character who looks fun to play as or looks cool is Ms. Marvel.
Ms. Marvel.
She's the only. It's the only character that looks really interesting and fun to play as. And to be honest with you, probably Black Widow as well, because the fighting style is just normal, but everything
Yeah.
else looks a bit crap, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it's weird looking at it as well because like they showed off. So I'll just go through some of the things that I wrote down, and then we can chat a bit more. But when they were talking about the game, so obviously they've said it's like you can play online multiplayer versions of
Yeah.
it with your team, but you can also play it single player. So
Mm-hmm.
basically, there's part of the stories that there's a lot of single player missions which you have to play solo.
Yeah.
But then they have these other Warzone missions, is what they call them, which is your co-op. So essentially, it's a mission where you and three players, sorry, so you can have a team of four or a
Yeah.
team of five, I'm not too sure, but essentially you can go in together as a team and do this mission as your team with your friends online or whatever. But also, if you don't want to do that, you can do it on your own with a team of AI, like essentially like a team
Yeah.
of like, so like your Avengers team is still with you. But I think as well, while you're doing it, the team of people that are with you, while their AI could still level up that character for you in your game as well. I
Oh,
think they
cool.
said, which is kind of cool. But so yeah, that's kind of how it works, and it has its mainline plot. But then these like war zones and stuff will continuously be updated,
Yeah.
and you can have new single missions and single player missions and stuff. So it's kind of a
Mhm.
game that will continue going even after you finished, I guess, the main story, or if the main story finishes, or if you're just continuously
Yeah.
doing this. But like that's the thing where I'm looking at it and I'm like, so I would much prefer just one single player standalone game. But
Same.
obviously they've been trying
Yeah.
for years to make these big open world multiplayer games you can play. So I'm like,
Mhm.
okay, well if you can do that, then I would like the option to play it on my own if I want to, or do it with a few of my friends.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
like that's what they're doing. So I'm like, awesome, that sounds great. But then you see it and it's like you said, the world doesn't look cheap. But the thing is, or the world looks cheap, it doesn't look great. But like
Yeah.
you're comparing these games now to like your like the Last of Us type,
Yeah.
and you're comparing it to the Spider-Man game in particular, where you're like
Yeah.
you're looking at that one character and they just nailed everything about that one character,
Exactly.
and it's very unique, it's very individual, the world
Mhm.
looks beautiful, he's engaging and interacting with the world around him. Whereas in this, it's like it looks like an old, like it does look like the mechanics of a PS3 game, because
Yeah.
like you've got your Thor character, and that they show like 8 minutes of like single player with playing as Thor,
Yeah.
but like it looks like a video game. You know,
Yeah.
like you play God of War and it doesn't feel like you're in a video game. It just looks like a beautiful world, and
Mhm.
you're chucking your hammer around, it's coming back to you, or the
Yeah.
axe in that game. Whereas in this, like it look like when he throws it, it's like, oh yeah, I can almost see the
Mhm.
person press the button to throw it. It's just like it doesn't look fluid,
Yeah.
doesn't look normal. Like when you hit the machines, like this green thing comes off, and it looks so video gamey, and all
Yeah.
the things he's fighting are just multiple copies of the same thing. So it doesn't look, and they all are doing the same thing. And then it's like, oh, here's the big thing. Just go and hit him 7 times
Mhm.
like this, and then 2 times like that. Dodge this attack, and then hit him again. And
Yeah,
it's like,
like it
ugh.
screams that, and like I know Spider-Man can be that in some ways, but there's a lots of way that it can work around, but it doesn't seem like there's going to be any of that. And then things like, and it's small, like, but I know you hit the nail on the head, is like it doesn't look or react to like The Last of Us as well. It feels like something like the way it showed like Iron Man flying around, that obviously there's obviously ends to these levels as well, and there is like invisible walls, but it feels like this is a game that would have flat trees or something like that, and then Iron Man's flying around, and then you kind of hit the edge of the world and he's still kind of just flying in place, do you know what I mean, as well, and you can skim along the edges. But like it feels like in a proper game there'd be something around that would make it make sense, like if you crash into it and you physically crash and break or something like that, or maybe he loops around or something along those lines, where it just doesn't look polished, it just looks off.
Yeah,
Like it does look off, and I feel like I am going to like it when I play it, and the single missions are probably going to be the thing that stands out, and I just know that as soon as it gets into those big war zone missions, it's going to feel very video gamey and tacked on, where it's going to be like it's going to come in 3 phases, and then you beat a boss, and then you get to the
yeah,
end and you have to
exactly. Yeah,
push a button or turn on a switch, and it's going to feel that every time you do that it's the exact same structure each time, because it
exactly.
does
Yeah,
need to be structural to work online. So I just feel like that's going to take you out of it massively. But the thing I
that's
am
the
looking
thing
forward
there,
to is the story kind of part of it as well. So like I know it's mentioned here as well that MODOK is the villain as well, and the way they do that trailer, I think that's a good reveal, and that got me excited. So
yeah.
yeah, like could be good.
Yeah, like, I'm really, really hoping it's good, and I hope that they've just like
Mm.
it. Just when you start playing it and you get into the gameplay, it's great. But like I know, like there just seems to be so much going on in this game. Like there's like even it's the first Avengers game. Excuse me, it's the first Avengers game. So the fact that they started off with this story where like
Mm-hmm.
Cap is quote unquote dead and the Avengers are ruined and the entire city of Chicago, or whatever city they're in, is destroyed, and then you're playing as Kamala Khan bringing them back together. Like that part where she's bringing them back together sounds great, but like then the helicarrier going down causes the Terrigen to be released, and then that creates all the Inhumans, and it's like, Jesus Christ, there's just so much going on.
So much already,
and then you've got like you can play as all 6 characters, but then all 6 of them have multiple costumes you can get. They all have gear and loot that you can find. They all have multiple skill trees that you can level up, and it's just like, good grief, there's just so much going on. And like I've never complained with like, oh, there's like never complained. There's like, oh, there's too much superheroes, but it's like I just can't wrap my head around what I'm looking forward to, because I'm like, oh, I don't even know where to start with it.
Yeah, I'm totally with you. Like, there is ways they could have easily done this where like it could have been single player, but with all the Avengers. So you could have got something like something happens at the start, instead of Cap dying, they all get kidnapped to some various degrees, and they're all kind of like stealth and big action piece missions to like save all of them. And then that frees up someone else to go and save someone else. So you can do missions as, you know, what do you call it, Ms. Marvel, to break out Iron Man at the start, and then the second one could be Iron Man going, right, we'll split up, and you take that place to free the Hulk, and I'll take this place to free, you know, Thor or something like that. And you know, it's done in that degree as well. Or then there is, you know, the level of 2 of people working together, and you can switch between them or something along those lines. But the fact that there's 5 of them, and it doesn't feel like they're like totally right, that they're not nailing any mechanic down. It's just all very paint by numbers, because it's so, you know, watered down. And I know we're badminton the game before we played, and it, you know, it could turn out to be great, and it just looks bad for now. But like, and that's certainly what I hope. But like, I feel like this is going to be bad, and I feel like it's going to completely flop, which is just awful, because then it'll be a while before we get another one.
Exactly, yeah. And that's it. Even like the studio like Square Enix and Crystal Dynamics have done some great stuff beforehand. So here's hoping that it doesn't look good so far, and that when you get the game, it will actually be great. Like, I'm definitely going to play it start to finish anyway. But
same.
It just seems weird. Like, if they had gone, like, the Spider-Man game was just such a success. I know this game was in development at the same time, so they couldn't have. But it just feels weird that they wouldn't have been like, hey, let's just do similar-ish things with each character, or like with a couple of characters together, or something like that. Yeah. Anyway, moving on. Hopefully it's good. Then moving on from Marvel to we're actually back in the world of rumors. So DC again, because DC never have legit news, they just have rumors. So we have rumors around the DC games. We've been talking about for a long time now that they apparently. So Rocksteady obviously done the original Batman Arkham trilogy, and then WB Montreal done the Batman Origins game, which was a prequel to the Arkham games. But there has been rumors for so long that Rocksteady were working on a Superman game, and then that was cancelled, and then they were working on a Suicide Squad game that reportedly we didn't know was still like going ahead or had been cancelled as well. And that WB Montreal have been working on the new Batman game, whether it's in the Arkham universe or whether it's a different game entirely, a kind of semi reboot. We don't know. Yeah. But this week we had 2 domain names or domain names online that were put in by a company that have been associated with the DC games in the past, and have put their domain names in before. But one of them is suicidesquadgame.com and suicidesquadkillthejustice.com. So people are like, holy shit, this must be the Suicide Squad game. And the company to put it in are affiliated with Rocksteady. So people are thinking that this is kind of like a semi-confirmation that maybe at DC Fandom, because usually they wouldn't put a domain name in until they're very close to actually releasing the project, and they wouldn't have a title for the name for the game in particular. So people are assuming that this is actually the Rocksteady game, the Suicide Squad game they've been working on, and that they're going to announce it at DC Fandom. But also, there was another one put in for a domain name for Gotham Knights, and I think the other one's called BatmanGame.com, and then the other one's called Batman Knights or something like that. Nice. So people think that is the game that WB Montreal are working on, which obviously we've heard a lot about Gotham Knights, and like WB Montreal have just been teasing this Batman game for about 2 years now. And we know what's coming. Yeah. They just have not announced it yet. Like, they're working on it. They just haven't said what it is yet. So apparently, that's what we think, that we're getting the Suicide Squad game from Rocksteady and the Batman game coming from WB Montreal. That game is obviously the one that's meant to be reportedly based around the entire Bat family, where you can play as multiple characters. So you could potentially play as Robin, Nightwing, potentially Red Hood, Batwoman, Batgirl, whatever. We don't know yet. And it's the one, obviously, that we heard is based around the Court of Owls story, which is such an amazing comic run by Scott Snyder.
Probably one of my favorite Batman runs.
Yeah, it's so good. But yeah, so after all the rumors, and again, it's still a rumor, so we know class or trash, we don't know yet. But what's your take on them, Lorcan? Are you excited? Like, I don't think
this is the same as the Marvel one as well. Like, so it kind of depends on how they tackle this. So like in the past, Rocksteady have done, team ups as well, where there's multiple characters that you're able to play with, as like, Catwoman going around the city as well, or Batman, or you can go around as Robin or Nightwing in certain parts as well. But like the way they done that, I thought was great. So like Catwoman's mechanics of getting around were like different than Batman's as well, but were still quite fluid. And like I hope they do something along those lines as well, where it's not like everyone is completely different. So like or they just go the route that like there is a kind of like a main character, or each of the individual characters could be a main character, but there's not too much of them in one scene at any given time. So like, the Suicide Squad could be there, but it does the thing where like two of them are fighting together and you can switch between them. And the way you switch between them is like you build up to get like a double team move. And then once you do the double team move, you basically take over as that person and it becomes more cinematic. So like that's what they've done in Batman games previous. And I think that could work. I love the name, they kill the Justice League. That could be really interesting. Like it could be the case that they're giving it a hit to try and take out the Justice League, but like obviously the Suicide Squad are massively unmatched when it comes to the Justice League. Yeah. So it could be really interesting where they have to try and take them all out individually, and it might be the case that they go after some of the weaker Justice League members. Like it could be the case that like there's the honorary Justice League members like Plastic Man or something like that, so they have to go after them first. And could be really fun and interesting. The Batman game, if it's based off the Court of Owls series, that could just be incredible because that story is amazing. And, there's really good villains like Talon are in that as well. So there's a lot of like, detective work in it as well. Warner Brothers done Batman Origins, didn't it? That was their one.
WB Montreal, yeah.
Yeah, so that's like it was okay. But like I do feel that like the parts that were lacking in that was probably some of the fighting mechanics. The story was actually pretty good. So yeah, like I hope they're both good, but I won't know until we start seeing some stuff and seeing.
That's it, yeah. And I'm very curious now to see, because like obviously both of these games have been in development for how long each one of them has actually been in development for, we don't know, but we know that they've been working on. Both studios have been working on games for a long time. So hopefully at DC Fandom we do get announcements for one or the other or both potentially. But I would be shocked if both of them are coming out in the same year. Like I would imagine that the Batman game potentially will be announced at DC Fandom maybe to come out this year, but probably next year, I would say. And the Suicide Squad game could be like, we're working on it. It'll be with you, in the future at some point, and maybe that's next year, maybe it's the year after. God only knows what these games like. But yeah, like, I mean, yeah, I'm 2 more Batman games or 2 more DC related games. Like, absolutely, I'd love them. So,
yeah, you can't
like you said, it's really just finding out, which ones they actually announce, and which characters you get in like in a Suicide Squad game. Like who would you be playing as? I mean, Deathstroke obviously would be, or not Deathstroke, Deadshot would be like one of your linchpins. I think would be the main one. He'd have some great mechanics and like fighting mechanics as well. But
definitely a Harley Quinn as well. Maybe a Killer Croc as like a bruiser or something along those lines.
Yeah, like Killer Croc or King Shark or something.
Yeah, and this is somewhere where Slipknot could actually be quite good. In this as well, for like traversing around the city or something along those lines, it could be actually really interesting.
I would love if they brought him in just to kill him in the first 5 minutes again, like they did in the other Suicide Squad movie.
Yeah, it could be good.
Yeah. But yeah, hey, look, here's hoping that they're announced, but knowing DC, they won't be, and it will just be another rumor for another 2 years.
Oh, I hope not. I really hope not.
Yeah. We'll see. I would say in terms of rumors, they're definitely class. Yeah, exactly, at this fandom thing, yeah. They're building this shit up. This better be a good event. Like
it'll be awful. I know it'll be awful, and it'll be like there'll be one good thing that'll come out of it, and they'll reference that a good movie is coming, but everything else is going to be boring. It's going to be... I don't know, maybe I'm just being cynical, but DC they're being weird at the minute. So I don't know.
I don't know. Like to be fair, the last 2 years, all their movies have made money and been successful. So
Yeah, but they're
I
not. They
think they're
haven't
on a
been
roll.
good. Like that's the thing. Like I enjoyed the Aquaman movie as well, but it wasn't good. And if they go ahead with the
It was
Flash,
better that it was. To be honest, let's be honest though, it was
yeah,
as good as an Aquaman movie probably could be
I don't agree with that. I think an
for
Aquaman movie
for
could
a
be a
first
lot better.
movie.
Yeah, for a first movie, yeah, definitely. But it screams to me like the first X-Men movie that came out as well, where it was flawed, but it was good, and I really enjoyed that film. But it's not like I
Yeah,
feel like First Class is maybe what X-Men should have been.
yeah, I get
So
you.
it's something similar to that, I suppose.
Yeah.
Mm.
Anyway,
Yeah. Anyway,
that's all our that's all the news and all the rumors and all the
mm-hmm.
juicy stuff for the week. We will switch on to some random recommendations.
Ba-dum, bum, ba-dum, ba-dum. My
That was a
beloved drum.
bit of a jazziness to that one, wasn't there? So random recommendations. Obviously, the both of us have been playing The Last of Us.
Yeah.
Neither of us have finished it yet. You have, as we mentioned last week, you have clearly overtaken me. Where you've
I've
gotten to the
blitzed
story.
through it already. But like, see, the thing is, I haven't even blitzed. I've just spent too much time on it. So like, I haven't had a social life basically since Friday night. But yeah, like I'm loving it. Like obviously I won't go into
absolutely
any spoilers.
Zero spoilers here when we're talking about.
No spoilers. I'm loving it at the minute as well. I understand like there's things that happen towards the start of this game as well that obviously when the script leaked, a few big things happened towards the start of the game, and that got people riled up, and I can see where those people have come from. But I think myself and yourself are on the same card that I think it was a good decision, and I kind of like the way that it's moving forward with things. But in terms of look and feel, like I think the game's great. I will say, however, and I don't know if it's my controller or not, but I'm finding some parts are slightly janky. So like in terms of stealth, I'm finding it not as smooth as what the Last of Us was or any of the Uncharted ones. Some parts of the stealth mechanics are, maybe she walks slightly too slow in some parts, and then when you kind of like line her up, she runs a bit faster. But it could be the realism where like if I'm looking one direction and walking the other way, she naturally walks slower. And again, but I found it a bit frustrating where like, the crawling or the walk-in pace or the crouching pace is so much slower than the walking pace. And if you're trying to sneak up on someone, the AI are very smart in this and the way they move and stuff like that. Like it's not as if they walk and stand somewhere for a long period of time. They'll walk, they'll turn around, they'll look around. So if you're sneaking up on someone, you kind of need to be faster, and they can hear you if you walk up, up front. So I found like some of that to be slightly frustrating. But outside of that, like I think the game is like flawless. I really enjoy it at the minute. Like I think it looks beautiful. All the villains are really good. The story and motive is really good. So I'm really liking it.
Yeah. No, I'm definitely on the same page as you. I'm loving. I think I said to you yesterday that I'm about 8-ish hours into it.
Yeah.
And yeah, like I'm just loving everything. I'm loving the story. The gameplay is just so beautiful. The world is amazing.
Yeah.
The way that they've kind of opened the world up.
Yeah.
And like all the looting mechanics and how you like level up and stuff. Not level up, but like the one thing actually when I was looking at it, some of the things that have stood out to me, and again, none of these are spoilers or anything, but like the way that they've made the game feel real, is just it's how I think any game that wants to be real needs to play this game and see it. This and Red Dead, it's the only two games that made like everything you do feel like you're doing them, and it's not like, oh, here's a little game mechanic to get you through. Like for instance, there's safes in the game, and the way that you figure out how to open each safe is a totally natural way to do it.
There's some like really nice there's some nice kind of nods towards it and some really interesting puzzles the way they do it.
And it's not like a little mini game that you have to play or any of that crap. Like it's within gameplay where you have to figure out, whoa, this room, go to that room, where do I figure it out? Really cool stuff. But I was playing it yesterday, and I was in a section, and all of a sudden a plastic bag was blowing in the wind in front of the character. I don't know if you've seen this yet in the game somewhere, but it's such a ridiculous thing for me to literally stop, and I almost got goosebumps looking at it because I was like, someone had to go in and animate what it would be like for a plastic bag to be blowing around in circles in the wind, and it looks amazing. Like it's blowing around in the wind as the leaves below it and the trees are blowing at the same time. I'm like, it's just so unnecessarily beautiful and real. Like there's
so much parts in this game that like like, and I think myself and yourself talked about it as well, like where I've tried not to blow through any of the maps at all. Like, so I've done things where like if you start, I immediately run behind to see whatever else is there. And again, sometimes it's for the looting mechanics as well, but other times it's like all of this world was made to be explored, and I feel like I want to see all of it. And I feel like, say if I don't, it's kind of like a travesty for like all the work and effort that went into this game, because like some parts of it are stunning. Like the opening scene of this game when, you know, and again, this isn't a spoiler because it's literally the first like 10 minutes in the game, when you're going back towards the town with Tommy, and you basically go through this field of corn or flowers, and there's a sunrise coming up and the sun's going through the trees,
Oh
and you're
yeah,
like,
it's a
oh my
remarkably
god,
beautiful.
this game is beautiful. Like it really is gorgeous. And at the same time, you know, they keep up that gross aesthetic as well of, you know, the sewers, you know, the clickers look disgusting and terrifying. So like that same kind of beauty and level of detail goes into like the character design and, you know, the killing mechanics as well, which are really heavy in this game. Like, as in, like, it's really brutal, to be honest with you. And I can see why people are uncomfortable with that. But again, it's like, that's what the game is. Like, you know, like there's no shying away from it. There's no point in doing something, you know, half-assed. Like there's real brutal moments in this, and it's hard to watch, but I think that's supposed to be part of it. Like it's a real realistic tale of what could happen. And it's
and
good.
the mechanic, I actually had one spot yesterday, and again, I feel like I have to say this every time, but still no spoilers, but where I was in a gunfight with this group, and the last person that I took out on the group was, like, the last person that I took out was someone that was just, I shot them, they were over in the corner, but they weren't fully dead. So I went over to them to finish them off. And you had the option to just hit them with like the bat I had. And like it's just totally unnecessary, but some, like, the game mechanic, like whoever edited it or like animated it is just so bleak.
I know the part you're talking about as well, because like, again, I thought it was something similar as well, where the last person's coming and they were talking, and I think they were begging for mercy or something like that as well. But like, I saw it to strike, and I'm like, well, I'm not going to shoot them in the face. Maybe I'll knock them out or something like that. But like, you rail it through their head, and then the character who's with you even goes, Jesus, Ellie, like, and then I kind of felt like I didn't mean to do that, like, you know, like that wasn't me, but like I
wasn't planned.
I like that's part of it, like, and the way they do the and again, no spoilers, I keep on saying it the whole time, but the way when you're fighting people, they call out for their friends' names and stuff like that. Like, so if you shoot someone, they're like, "Oh my god, they killed Alex!" Or it's like, "No, Alex!" And then someone could run in. But there's also the moment as well where someone goes down, and then if you are sneaking around for a long time after killing someone, they'll start to realize that someone's missing, and people start to get worried, and then you start to feel really bad because they're just like, "I haven't heard from them." You know, it's like, you know, and then it's like, I better go look for him. And people are like, don't go look for him. And then it's like, oh, that's actually heartbreaking. Like, you know, it's like, I'll definitely just kill that person. Like, you know, but like, the game is really good, but it, like there is parts of it, it's just like, whoa, this is heavy, like really heavy. But I'm really enjoying it. Maybe because I'm a sadist or something like that. But like, I'm really enjoying it, and those little touches make that game even better. Like,
but that's the thing, it's games like this that like, you don't just get off scot-free for going through and murdering a bunch of people. Like, you not like, and I remember Neil Druckmann, the games developer, talking about it, where he's like, we want you to feel everything. Like, the story that you're living through, what you're doing, like, fair enough, to get through the story you have to do the things that were that your character does, but you need to feel the depth and like the heaviness of what it is you're doing, because it's not like a game where you're just this stealth killer going through murdering loads of like random AI. Like you said, the characters call out for each other. These characters apparently, like, you're meant to feel like they live in a world where they're friends, and like, you just kill all their friends, so of course they want to come and kill you. And it's just like, you feel it. Like, if you're like, again, if you want to get that much in depth into the game, then you can. Whereas other players could just like skim through it and blitz through it, and not notice this if like they just go in guns a-blazing. Whereas if you're trying to like stealthily go through and you hear all this stuff, like you said, you want to, I nearly almost, when I get to a part, I'm nearly like, okay, what's the most meticulous way I can do this so I can get as much out of it as possible? You know, just so like you can survive the situation you're in, but also like experience it all, rather than going in with a couple of bombs and just blowing everyone up and running on through, you know?
And like there's really good mechanics in this as well, the way they do things, like where, you know, the sound mechanics I feel like work way better in this game as well. So like, if you throw stuff, the way people gather and the way you can kind of set up things in motion, like if you're in a place where you have humans and zombies in one thing, there's good strategies that can be lit up to try and get them to fight each other. And then when that happens, it doesn't do the normal thing where, like, do you know, if you're playing a game where two enemies are fighting each other, and then one of the enemies sees you in the middle of combat, then they just start attacking you, and then both of them start attacking you. Like there's one part in the game again where I managed to do that, and I'm sure it can happen at any part where there's two villains or two kind of groups of enemies in one place, but they were running around in a panic. And one guy ran by me and saw me and goes, "Oh, you're here too?" and then ran past me. And I was like, that was incredible, because like the idea is the person was being chased by like a clicker as well and was terrified, and then saw me, and then they were just like, I think it said, "She's here too." But like he ran past me, didn't shoot me, and was just like worried about his own safety. And like I go, that was such a really good moment in the game that I'm sure, say if I had stayed there, he would have remembered and came after me as well. But because I moved around, they had bigger fish to fry. Like it was like, again, like it's just the details in this game just make it so much better. And like the fact that the AI are so intelligent in it is great, but it's also, it's bad because, it humanizes them all. So like, as you said, like the parts where, someone is begging for their life and you have to kill them makes it all like, it makes you question Ellie's motives. Like, they do a good idea of setting this up and why she's doing things as well. But then there's also a part of the game where you're just going like, is this too much? And they've done it in the same with the first game as well, where Joel will do actions and you're like, this is too much. But I think you're supposed to feel like that as well, where it's like, listen, like maybe this has gone too far. But anyway,
and that's it. They're like they said it when they were creating the game, like they're flawed characters. They're just human, they definitely are. You're just living through their story essentially. But so we're hoping maybe by next week, potentially the week after, that we'll both have completely finished the game, and we can we'll probably do like a standalone full like 25-minute or 20-minute episode of each. I
reckon I'll have this finished by next weekend. I reckon I'll probably pick a few evenings midweek this week, and I'll probably get it finished.
Okay, I'll aim to do the same thing. This time next week we'll do a normal episode, but we'll also do a spoilers of The Last of Us. Class, and go full on in depth. So anyone waiting for the spoiler one, check it out next week. Apologies for being super delayed, but we're part-time watchers. All right, this is what we do.
This is literally in the name.
Class, I think that's all for this weekend.
That's it.
Unreal. That is all she wrote. Okay, so if you are, God, I keep forgetting to say this.
Gotta write it down.
If you're listening to us on YouTube, give the video a like, hit the subscribe button, tell people about it. And anywhere else, just, whatever the button is, there's a button somewhere, subscribe, like, share, all that good stuff. Be sound. We'd appreciate any kind of support like that. And have a swell time. I think if you're Ireland based, I think a lot of the country is starting to slowly open up again. So
get a haircut.
You can get a haircut. Imagine that. So enjoy that. Stop looking like a hobo, but continue to wash your hands, continue to social distance, be smart, don't be an idiot.
Don't be an idiot. And we're so close to beating this,
Exactly. And wherever else you are in the world, we hope you're in the same situation that we are and you're close to beating it. And take care of yourself and others, and we will see you next week.
All right, see you, Jamie. Stay safe, Jamie.
See you, Jamie. Bye.